2 Kings 5:15. So we've already looked at the story of Naaman the leper, and how Naaman had gone to Elisha, was upset when Elisha said to go dip in the river Jordan. Felt like it ought to be different than that, and one of his servants, of course, tells him, you've got to relook at this, dude. If he had told you to climb Mount Everest, you'd have done it, but just do this simple thing. And obviously, Naaman realized his foolishness, went and dipped 7 times in the Jordan, is cleansed. And now we are at that point where he is coming back then to meet up with Elisha. He doesn't just go his way back home, which is impressive for us. Instead, he has this change of heart, and he comes back and wants to show Elisha his faith in God that has happened because of this. So it's a beautiful picture of a miracle that takes place with a foreigner, a Syrian. And Jesus refers to this in Luke chapter 4 and verse 27, that he's the only leper in these days that ever got healed. But you see the response of a Syrian Gentile in comparison with who? The whole nation of Israel. What an impressive thought that is, and of course a foreshadowing of the saving of the Gentiles and all nations coming to Christ. And also the foreshadowing of the small remnant of Israel that will actually come to the Lord and learn and be impressed with God. So it's a wonderful good news for the world. It's a bad news and a sad news for the nation of Israel. So quite an introduction then that we have to this man Naaman and his response. So we'll look at that. Let's begin with prayer. Father, thank you so much for your watchful care over us. The wonderful time that we always enjoy to be able to be with you and be together as we worship you and study about you. Please bless us in this study this evening. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, let's take a look then at this next section here, and we're going to look at chapter 15, verses 15 through 19 of chapter 5. And as we read, pay attention to what observations you would have about this text, and we will discuss it. So, verse 15, then he, that be Naaman, returned to the man of God, and he and all his company, and he came and stood before him, and he said, behold, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. So accept now a present from your servant. But he said, as the Lord lives before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. Then Naaman said, if not, please let there be given to your servant 2 mule loads of dirt. From now on, your servant will not offer burnt offering or sacrifice to any god but the Lord. In this matter, may the Lord pardon your servant when my master goes into the house of Rimmon to worship there, leaning on my arm, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon. When I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon your servant in this matter. And he said to him, go in peace. And then we'll pick up right there at the last part of verse 19 from that point. All right, so here we have Naaman. What do you think about this text? What are the things that stand out to you here? Yeah.
What sticks out to me is that Naaman is like, I know that there is no other God, so let me take something from here back to my place so that when I'm forced to go to the house and worship my other God, I can return to the Lord.
Yeah, He feels like if he has that load of dirt, he's standing on God's land. He's standing in God's promised land, and it's quite a picture of him saying, just let me take this. I'm never going to offer anything to anybody, any other god but the Lord, and I'm going to offer it on this bunch of dirt that comes out of Israel. It's pretty impressive to see this great man and his humility there. Good. What else? Alan.
What's interesting to me is he's already thinking ahead. He knows he's going to have to go and worship in order to maintain his position. But
or his life.
maintain his life. He's already thinking ahead of
what it's going to be. That's right. And really, he's basically, when he's talking to Elisha, it's like talking to God at this point. And he's saying, may he pardon me in this. And Elisha says, you're good, go your way. So it's pretty impressive to see I thought of just his heart sensitivity in this. Instead of just, whatever. He's sensitive enough to that, knowing I don't want to do that. That's not good, but knowing he'd be forced into it, and so he does. Yeah, Julie.
I heard recently that this might be related to the fact that the people thought that idols only had territory over certain lands, and therefore maybe he was thinking he had to have land that God was territorial over.
Well, possibly, I guess. I probably wouldn't. I just think of him just saying, I want Israel under my feet. I want the promised land. He knows this is God's land. And he is certainly going to, and I possibly has learned by now, that God is the God of Syria too. God is over all, because he's been able to do what he's done because of the Lord. But it is impressive.
The way he criticized the Jordan River. So he hasn't been real.
That's a good point. Yeah.
On the features, the geography,
Yeah.
the earth there. I think it shows his attitude has really changed.
Yes.
About that.
It certainly has. Yeah, that's a great point. When you see his attitude about Jordan, yuck, I don't want to dip in Jordan and all this, but now it's like, give me some of the dirt. Just give me some of the dirt and let me bring it back so I can offer to God there. Yeah, great text.
Yeah, I just thought of this response in contrast to the 10 lepers in the New Testament, and just how different.
Good.
The 8 that didn't return.
The 9 that didn't return. Yeah, 1 returned.
One came back.
Yeah.
And just how big of a deal it is for someone when they're healed to come and turn and actually give thanks.
Yes.
Literally is a very, very rare thing.
Yeah, that's so good. And this really sets up the future incidents in these next couple of chapters, because God's going to do all kinds of wonderful things to spare and save Israel, and they're not going to give a hoot. They don't really. They're just going to go right back to doing what they do. They're not going to question their calf worship. They're going to question anything. Yet God keeps coming and rescuing them and saying, hello, I'm the one doing this, and they are just going to ignore it. So it's a great contrast. That's exactly right. Just the thankfulness. I mean, a guy could have just got up and went, well, thank you very much, and gone back home. But he does not. And that's really beautiful, really impressive. And Jesus obviously thought so too, because he mentions this incident. All right, anything else? All right, so real cool thing there. Let me ask a question here. Why wouldn't Elisha receive a gift from Naaman? Elisha's received lots of gifts from others in Israel. Why not from Naaman?
He wants them to realize that this power is from God.
Yeah, this is not, you're not earning anything. This is the grace of God. This is the gift of God. It's the same reason you might remember when Jesus sends out the 70 and they're supposed to go preach to everybody. Where are they supposed to get their livelihood while they're gone? From a fellow Israelite. That's right. And those fellow Israelites are to take care of them. And then when you see the Apostle Paul going to Corinth and knowing how they look at things and everything, he refuses to receive money from them, even though he's from the back door getting money from Macedonia so he can live and doing some tent making. He won't take money from the Corinthians because he knows that this could affect, the relationship and stuff. So it is very important. I find people all the time. My neighbor is one. I don't know, been 2 or 3 times now. I've done something for her, and she says, "Oh, let me pay you." And I said, "You're not paying me anything." "Oh, well, let me give a gift to the church." Then I said, "You're not giving a gift to the church. We don't want it. We just care about doing things and helping people. You don't have to give us anything." And she's like, "Oh, this is kooky." So it's really important that he doesn't take this money. He's really showing this is a gift. Naaman's used to paying for things. The king of Syria is used to paying for things. You don't pay for this. You can't earn this. This is a gift from God. So it's really, I think, a beautiful picture it's given there. Okay. All right, let's as I point out here, it's time to show the grace of God. So let's take a look now at 20 through 27. So I looked up in the Hebrew. I don't always do this, and I should do this more often. The way the Hebrew word here for the servant of Elisha is pronounced is Gehazi. So just so you would like maybe to know. All my life I've gone Gehazi, whatever, that's what it looks like in English. So I thought, I'm going to look this up. Gehazi. There you go. There's no A sound in the Hebrew. It's always ah. So there you are. Okay, so middle of verse 19. But when Naaman had gone from him a short distance, Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, "See, my master has spared this Naaman the Syrian in not accepting from his hand what he brought. As the Lord lives, I will run after him and get something from him." So Gehazi followed Naaman, and when Naaman saw someone running after him, he got down from the chariot to meet him and said, Is all well?" And he said, "All is well. My master has sent me to say, there have just now come to me from the hill country of Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Please give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of clothing." And Naaman said, "Be pleased to accept 2 talents. And he urged him, and tied up 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of clothing, and laid them on 2 of his servants, and they carried them before Gehazi. And when he came to the hill, he took from their hand and put them into the house, and sent the men away, and they departed. And he went in and stood before his master, and Elisha said to him, "Where have you been, Gehazi?" You need to shut your mouth, Gehazi. I always think I get that point. Do you really think you can lie to a prophet? You know this man better than that. And he said, "Where have you been?" And he said, "Your servant went nowhere." Not good. But he said to him, "Did not my heart go with the man, when the man turned from his chariot to meet you? Was it a time to accept money and garments, olive orchards and vineyards, sheep and oxen, male servants and female servants? Therefore the leprosy of Naaman shall cling to you and to your descendants forever." So he went out from his presence a leper like snow. You know what I'll let you talk in a second. What I always think about with this is when Elisha says, "Did not my heart go with you?" And suddenly you can just see Gehazi, I'm sure the blood just flushed out of his head. And he thought, oh, it's coming. What's going to be the punishment? And then he said, "You and your descendants forever." Talk about rock your world. That is just absolutely amazing. Okay, what are some of the things you notice in this story?
There's for sure a contrast between Gehazi and Naaman. this guy is the closest he can be to the man of God. He's a servant. And even he is susceptible to falling under the curse of the land.
Yes.
Everyone else is falling under.
Yep, absolutely. Falls into the same kind of thinking and attitude that he's grown up in the midst of in Israel. And what a tremendous failure, especially when you have watched Elisha all these years, all this time. You know he knows what's going on all the time. You've seen him be able just to say, well, by the way, the guy coming up the front door right now is, and he's going to, and, he knows everything. God is telling him everything that's going on. And what a really foolish decision he made here. Okay, Adam.
Two comments. One, to me, it just highlights that, at some point, everybody kind of has their price. And if we ever feel like, oh, so-and-so is, served so long or they've done so much that they would never sin or they would never kind of be susceptible to that. As we talk about Gehazi's been with Elisha maybe a really, really long time.
Yeah, imagine.
He should have no question to understand the risk that he's taking, regardless of the moral
Yes.
to understand the risk. Yet, when he saw, 10 changes of clothes and, sacks of silver, all of a sudden at some point he was like, this could work out bad, but this could work out really good.
Really good. That's right.
And so kind of he had a price, and so we shouldn't ever think that anyone is above that.
Yeah.
And the second is, this was the passage that we used with our older girls 10 years ago or so when we caught them lying. And it was a really interesting discussion, and just encourage, but most every parent in the room is at some point going to deal with their kids lying. You will, not you might.
Yeah.
And using this as an example of the death that comes from lying and that sin, even though no one is harmed. No one comes out of this badly, right? Naaman wanted to give this. Mm-hmm. Elisha wasn't any worse off because he did it. Gehazi didn't like this is the victimless crime sort of thing. The Lord still sees it as lying and a sin and worthy of death.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a great lesson that you can see there. No doubt. Okay, what else?
I think it shows what can happen if someone's, like, say, a new Christian, and someone who, uses the voice of God, saying, "Hey, prophets came, and he's changed his mind." It's basically, it looks like you're buying it. You're buying the gift of God versus it being God's free will to you to give it. And that's going to screw someone's brain up.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is seen a lot. That's common even in a lot of religions. You don't get something for free. you got to pay for it, and just the idea of urging people to give who show up, even though they're visitors, and things like that. Yeah, good point. All right. What else? Yeah.
It does kind of end Elijah's prophetic line too, right? Elisha was a servant of Elijah. He takes his mantle. Gehazi is a servant of Elisha, and it ends there. There's not really another prominent prophet that goes around doing miracles after Elisha.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. Anybody else? So I'd like you to think about this. By the way, a talent is about 75 pounds of silver. So that is about 2 talents, about 2,400 ounces of silver. I looked up what silver is going for today, which has gone up a lot in the last few years, but it's $52 and some change an ounce. So it's $125,000 in today's language. So Adam talked about a price. When he asked for just a talent of silver, and Naaman goes, "Oh, take 2." wow, something else. So all of that there, and then that's not even counting the change of garments. We've seen that change of garments things a number of times, haven't we? And that's pricey as well. And consider also, what is the economy like in Israel right now? We already know that. Famine after famine, there's all kinds of bad things. The sons of the prophets are near starving. They're eating poison gourds, and there's all kinds of things that they're going through. So you could look at this, Gehazi could look at this as a very, whoa, look what I could do with this. Look what kind of value would come from this. Why, we could eat from now on to the end of our lives and not have to worry. And I don't know that he was going to do that, but he certainly could have had some motivation there.
I guess Gehazi had the prosperity gospel. God provided this.
Yeah.
And you think about in these very impoverished places, when they're, and it is very, to overcome the natural greed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hey, tell me about, though, go back and look again at verse 20. What's going on in Gehazi's mind?
Well, he said his master did it. His master did it.
No, verse, what verse did I say?
20.
Did I say 20? Yes, yeah, 20. But see, my master has, just those words, see, my master has spared this Naaman, this Syrian. What's he thinking?
A little jealous that he
He didn't get away with this. These Syrians have been whacking Israel for years. You just let him go free. Just let him get this nice little healing, and he doesn't pay anything for it. That's not right. It's not right at all. So he's looking at this from the standpoint of you just let him go. And yet, do we not sometimes have that same kind of attitude toward people that are, certainly the Jews did and the Pharisees did many times of how they would look at some terrible sinner and expect something greater out of them, etc. Yeah, Emily.
Looking at the first in the sentence before it, where it's after Naaman had traveled some distance, it wasn't like this split second, like, okay, let's have an argument with Elisha on whether or not Naaman should do it. It's hiding it, it's lying, and it also is, okay, so he's already gone. I'm going to go after him and get that back because I deserve it.
Yeah.
It's sort of his thought.
And that Syrian shouldn't just walk off scot-free. I mean, come on, this is just not right. It's a worldly way of thinking there, Danny.
He did it in his master's name.
Yeah, he did.
He used his master's name to say, my master sent me to get such.
And so Naaman's going, well, sure, whatever.
What sticks out to me is in the New Testament where it says we've cast out demons in your name and we've done all these things in your name.
Yeah,
But
not so. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's exactly right. So there's some really cool things, now why did I have that there? Oops, I stuck that at the wrong spot. Excuse me. I plucked it in one of the. I plucked it right in there. That doesn't go there. That's in the next chapter. Let me X that out right now. All right. Whoops. Okay. So we'll get to that in a second. All right. Well, I still thought I blanked it and I didn't, so whatever. Okay, let's look at chapter 6. So here we have two stories, the story of an axe head that floats, and then the defeat of the Syrians. Let's notice, first of all, the first 7 verses here. Now the sons of the prophet said to Elisha, "See, the place where we dwell under your charge is too small for us. Let us go to the Jordan, and each of us get there a log, and let us make a place for us to dwell." And he answered, "Go." Then one of them said, "Be pleased to go with your servants." He answered, "I will go." So he went with them, and when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. But as one was felling a log, his axe head fell into the water, and he cried out, "Alas, my master, it was borrowed." Then the man of God said, "Where did it fall?" And when he showed him the place, he cut off a stick, threw it in there, and made the iron float. And he said, "Take it up." So he reached out his hand and took it. So this is another one of those kind of funny miracles, that take place. It doesn't seem like it's really monumental. It is just a little bit weird. So what is the point of the story? The way you're going to think about that is, we've had this happen. These kinds of little odd miracles happen over and over again throughout these last couple of chapters. What's the point of this? What's God's message?
It's just not natural. It's the opposite of what kind of follows the natural order. And axe heads don't float. Iron doesn't float, right? And throwing a stick in the side
Doesn't make it float.
Doesn't make it float either. Like it's not some, that solves your problem. This isn't like a user manual for how to find fallen accents. But what it's displaying is that the order, no matter what it is, can be ordained by God.
Yeah.
There's control over the situation. God isn't constrained by, the Syrian army is amazingly powerful and there's no way we can beat them. He makes axe heads float.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. He can solve this problem for you. Yeah. But you have to know where to go and ask for the help. And they knew who to ask for help.
Yeah. And this is, we would look at this and say, whatever, you lost an axe head, but iron in those days was extremely expensive, and this would have been a tremendous hardship on this guy to go back and go, "I lost your axe," and the worth of that.
Yeah, I feel like verse 3 is kind of part of the point of the story, in that they could just go without Elisha, and Elisha's not a logger or anything like that. What is he going to do to help them? But the fact that they asked him,
"Nice to be with us.
So go with us, please."
That's right.
When the man of God is there, bad things aren't bad.
Yeah.
Things can be reversed.
Good. And so you keep getting this message that in these very dark days, remember how many during these days did God say are still serving him in Israel? 7,000. So this is a horrible time for Israel. It's a very, very low point. And God is continuing to send the message, "I am still in your presence. I am still with you. And I am still able to save this country and this nation. And I can do anything that's necessary." And especially these incidents have primarily worked with the prophets. And, of course, with Naaman, but with these sons of the prophets, that God's taking care of them all the time through this period. And Julie?
When he sees them, he sees the people who are trying to
Say again.
almost the same point. God sees who is trying to follow him.
Yes. Yeah, God is seeing through all of these things, and he recognizes it, and he's concerned about even the hardships of these young things. Yeah.
I think this is like the Allison made, but I'm not exactly sure. I haven't read my Bible from when we studied this last time in the class with the high school girls, but this kind of starts this section, and there seems to be this theme of like sight and blindness and like making things known and seen like through the rest of chapter 6.
Yes.
And so perhaps there's also this point of like the axe head couldn't be seen, and then Elisha made it seen.
Okay.
So it's kind of starting at this.
And you're exactly right. There's a thematic picture here of being able to see what you cannot ordinarily see. And that's right. That keeps coming up over and again. And God keeps showing that what you see is not the whole story. Good point. Great. And yeah. All right, great. All right, let's go to the next here. The rest of this chapter is about Elisha and the attack of the Syrians here. So let's take a look at that. Once when the king of Syria was warring against Israel, he took counsel with his servants, saying, "At such and such a place shall be my camp." But the man of God sent word to the king of Israel, "Beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are going down there." And the king of Israel sent to the place about which the man of God told him. Thus he used to warn him, so that he saved himself there more than once or twice. And the mind of the king of Syria was greatly troubled because of this thing, and he called his servants and said to them, "Will you not show me who of us is for the king of Israel?" And one of his servants said, "None, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet who is in Israel tells the king of Israel the words that you speak in your bedroom." That's scary. And he said, "Go and see where he is, that I may send and seize him." It was told him, "Behold, he is in Dothan," which is just about 50 miles or so north. So he sent there horses and chariots and great army, and they came by night and surrounded the city. When the servant of the man of God rose early in the morning and went out, behold, an army with horses and chariots was all around the city. And the servant said, "Alas, my master, what shall we do?" And he said, "Do not be afraid, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." Then Elisha prayed and said, "O Lord, please open his eyes that he may see." So the Lord opened his eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. And when the Syrians came down against him, Elisha prayed to the Lord and said, "Please strike this people with blindness." And he struck them with blindness in accordance with the prayer of Elisha. And Elisha said to them, "This is not the way, this is not the city. Follow me, and I'll bring you to the man whom you seek." And he led them to Samaria. As soon as they entered Samaria, Elisha said, "O Lord, open the eyes of these men that they may see." So the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. As soon as the king of Israel saw them, he said to Elisha, "My father, shall I strike them down? Shall I strike them down?" And he answered, "You shall not strike them down. Would you strike down those whom you have taken captive with your sword and with your bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master." So he prepared for them a great feast, and when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their master, and the Syrians did not come again on raids into the land of Israel. This is just fantastic. All right, what do you notice? A lot of cool things here.
I notice the contrast between when God usually defeats an army, he causes them to have death and destruction. In this case, he kind of blesses them.
Yeah, so God takes this army. So what do you think is, in this case, what was more powerful to the Syrians? Killing them or providing for them? Yeah, a message for us. You're going to make a lot more points with an enemy. Just as Jesus said, if your enemy is hungry, give him drink. If he's thirsty or hungry, give him food. And if he's thirsty, give him drink.
Yeah, and just the contrast of that blessing along with the absolute power flex of the chariots of fire surrounding the camp. So there's this power, but juxtaposed with the goodness and the graciousness of God.
Absolutely. And what's all those angels and everything around the camp? What message ought we get from that?
Syrians aren't spared because of weakness. They're spared because of weakness.
Yeah, right. Okay, what should we learn from this? When Elisha tells his servant, "Open your eyes, take a look," he prays, and he sees all of this. You notice how calm Elisha seems to be through all these things? It doesn't matter what happens, Elisha's just, it's okay. Why is he saying that? Why is it everything okay?
Is there a thing about the servant's eyes? We're servants of God. So what we see or what we don't see is we don't know what God has planned.
We need to see the unseen. That's right. We need to be aware of who is with us. We need to be aware of how did God respond? What did God respond to? Does he say in this? What exactly did Elisha do that God responded to? He prayed. He prayed. And you remember in James, when James refers to the prayer of Elijah prayed that it would not rain. It didn't rain 3.5 years, and he prayed again and it rained. And God, through James, said, what? You are of the same nature that Elijah is. Oh, we know, not us. He goes, no, you're in the same nature that he is. He prayed, God answers. The effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. You need to look at these things and not think in terms of God's not listening to little old me, and there's not armies and everything surrounding me. I don't have any help in this. That's not so. Revelation chapter 8 and verse 5, when the saints pray because of the persecution, angels take fire from heaven and cast it down to the earth, and they answer the prayer. Who are angels, the Hebrew writer says in chapter 1 and verse 14? Are they not servants sent out to serve and minister to those who are heirs of eternal life? Quit living our lives as if there's no one there. Total silliness. Great text.
Combine that with Ephesians, where we're told that we can do more than we can hope for.
Well, we ask or think.
Why limit what we assume we can ask for?
That's right. Absolutely. We're bad at that. I think we have all been very, very bad at that without the kind of trust and faith. When you look at how Elisha handles life because of this, in many ways, you got to put a star on Elisha over Elijah. Elijah just fell apart. And I'm not criticizing Elijah, but I mean, he had a tough life. But Elijah did fall apart in those last times. And Elisha just going through this like, I know what God is going to do. And when people were sent to kill him, he didn't run, he didn't anything, he just sat in the house and told his servants, by the way, they're coming, just to let you know. Just hold the door for a second until the king shows up, as we'll see in the next story. But it's just so interesting to see Elisha's calmness, and there's only one reason for that: absolute confidence in God.
Probably also had the benefit of knowing Elijah's experience.
I thought of that too, yeah.
Elijah has this experience right before he's given the go-ahead to choose Elisha. This kind of show me the glory moment that's an echo of what happened back in Moses' day. Moses asked, stop, show me your glory.
Yeah.
That's basically what Elisha is doing. So
Good.
you can see he's benefiting from his predecessor.
Yeah. And he's also benefiting because he got to see Elijah go up into heaven and the chariot of fire swooping down next to him and taking him up. And wow, you see that, you go, all right, we don't have to worry about anything from now on. I got this. Great.
There's the part and the salvation of the Syrians, sort of in the story and in the last one. So these people who are enemies are, sort of, they're sent away, but they're sort of given an easy time, as some would say. So do we think that says anything about the Syrians, or do we think it just says something about God's character, or what do we have? What's the reason for that?
Yeah, good. Contrast, by the way, the reaction of the Syrians here to the reaction of Israel and the king Jehoram. What's the difference? The blind Syrians now see the seeing Israelites are blind. Jesus used that same analogy in John 9. When the Pharisees said, "Are we also blind?" He said, if you knew you were blind, you could see. But since you say, "I see," you are still blind. The world needs to become blind in order to see. Meaning, I don't rely on anything that I've ever done or I've ever accomplished or what I can see. I rely on what is the unseen. We don't look at what is seen. We look at that which is eternal, 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 16. So very important. These are major lessons that we're getting in this. The Syrians, again, are the ones who see, and the Israelites do not. And the king, you crazy son of Ahab, you have just seen a mighty miracle, and you keep worshiping your dumb calf and will not honor Yahweh. And God just keeps poking, just keeps poking, just keeps poking. He won't give up. It's amazing. So super picture that we get in this great text. As you see these things. This is reminders, by the way, Romans 8, just can't help but equate that to Paul's last words in Romans 8 when he says, beginning in verse 31, what then shall we say to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also with him graciously give us all things? Who shall bring any charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is to condemn? Christ Jesus is the one who died. More than that, who was raised, who is at the right hand of God, who is indeed interceding for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are being killed all the day long. We are regarded as sheep to be slaughtered. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am sure that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus our Lord. Saying the same thing in the New Testament that he said back here. Cannot act stubbornly. Cannot act where this is all, I've got to solve everything. I can't take it anymore. You can. Because God is there. And we sing a song, isn't it? The unseen angels surrounding, I can't remember all the words, but all around us. They're there. Yes, they're there. And God cares. Terrific picture that he gives throughout this great picture here. Yeah, Alan.
It seems that Elisha is more famous among the other countries than among his own people.
He is.
They all know. They know where he's at.
Yes.
They know he's telling the king. How do they know all that?
Yeah.
You know?
Just wait till you get over to chapter 9 when you're going, not 9, chapter 8. You're going to see Gehazi and Elisha and taking care of the king of Syria when he gets sick, Ben-Hadad. And Jehoram can't get the time of day half the time because he's not a believer. So, yeah, you keep seeing this beautiful picture of what God's doing. And what a foretelling of the days of the Messiah. God is with you. Don't forget it. This is a great story. Don't forget this story. All right, very good. We'll look at it from there next time.